episode. This is the first of what's going to be a new series for me. Previously, I'd hope you've seen the interview I did on Clemente Collector's channel, and this is my chance to turn the tables on him with what I am calling authentic and unaltered. So, with Clemente Collector here. Theo, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, I appreciate you having me, John. You introduced me as Clemente Collector, and I I couldn't sleep last night. I wanted to do research on a new name of my channel, and I wanted to see what the audience thought about it. So, I spent a lot of time on this, but I wanted to be really original. So I have two kids, and I grew up in the '90s. So I was thinking 2D '90s kid. Well, I don't know what the audience thinks, but I think that's very original.
It looks awesome to me. So my
It's
my, uh, my youngest son also designed my logo, so he'll appreciate the imitation. Sincerest form of flattery. So
I appreciate it. Well, all kidding aside, John, thank you for having me on the show. If anybody doesn't watch my channel, my name's Theo, and I'm happy to be here. So
great to have you. So let's get rolling. Um, so from your watching your origin story again, it looks like you started collecting in 1990. Uh, and I was just wondering, as a kid, how many years did you go for with collecting? And what were the primary things you collected outside of, we already know, Pittsburgh Pirates cards? So
yeah, so it's a good question. So yeah, I started in the around 1990 when my grandpa took me to the flea market, and I primarily just collected Pittsburgh Pirate cards back then because that's the only team I really knew. Because I was about 6 years old at the time. So as a 6 year old, all you really have to watch at that time is whatever your parents or your grandparents watch. So my grandma was a huge Pirates fan until the day she passed away. She would watch Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy. In Pittsburgh, the lottery's huge. She would watch the lottery and she would watch the Pirates. And it was nothing else was ever on that TV during the summer when the Pirates were playing. So that was a big influence on me. But as I started getting older, going to school, the biggest influence on me was Michael Jordan. I think I feel so lucky to be a '90s kid and to grow up and look up to Jordan and how great of a player he was. And I was hooked. I watched all their championships. I had all their apparel. I had my Jordan jersey. I had the black one. And I collect basketball cards. So I wasn't like, the problem was I didn't have the background to go to like a card show or something like that. Like I literally just bought packs from the local grocery store of basketball cards. So if I got a Jordan card, I was extremely lucky. I usually got everybody else, but at the time, I enjoyed the other teams after watching Jordan play them. So the Jazz were huge back then. They had I love John Stockton. I appreciated him, but obviously Jordan was the main player. And I used to get Sports Illustrated for kids magazines, and I would collect the cards out of there. I really wish I would have. I wish I would have kept those magazines and kept those cards. You know, I during when you're a kid, you don't think that you could use the term oddball cards would be collectible now. You just think they're just kind of throwaway. Like I'm
oh
sure
yeah.
there's cards I got in cereal boxes and stuff, and I just said, well, these aren't real cards. Um, and nowadays, I can't get enough of those non pack cards. So I collected basketball mainly, and I also did football. Always been a huge Steeler fan. Like I said, my first real love was Jerome Bettis and Cordell Stewart. So I would also collect football cards and play football with my friends, and we would trade cards. And then as I got a little bit older, in the 1999, I got hooked on the Pokemon craze, and I went that route, and all my friends did, and we kind of got into that space where It wasn't just like a card you could look at. It was a game you could play. So we all learned how to play the card game, and we would play the card game over each other's houses and stuff like that. So
All right, cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering with Pittsburgh not having an NBA team if there was considered any kind of a local team to that, Western Pennsylvania. Was there a typical team people followed at all, or?
Not not really. Pittsburghers are very into high school and college basketball, and as I got older, and got into more towards high school, Pitt Pitt Panthers, the Pitt basketball team, was by far everybody's NBA team. I loved the Big East. It was my favorite basketball I've ever watched. I still wish I could go back to that. I loved it more than NBA games, and the Big East was low scoring, but every team had a great team. We had Ben Howland back in the day, and then Dixon took over, and we just had season after season. I started watching Pitt when Brandon Knight was on the team, and he was an awesome player. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
other than me cheering on the Chicago Bulls in the NBA, I didn't have an NBA team or have any friends or family that cheered on an NBA team outside of the Bulls and Jordan. So
Well, and he had national appeal because he was just so fun to watch. So,
yeah,
um,
I really feel like Jordan was the first player that started I call it like more player fandom over team fandom. And
yeah.
I think LeBron James, everybody kind of points to him and goes, "Oh, LeBron James fans." That's kind of the first player, but really like Jordan to me, like it used to be a star player like Jordan was really just loved in his hometown, and everybody else hated how much that person won. And then all of a sudden, he was just so likable. The whole United States was Chicago Bulls fans. I felt like
Oh,
so.
yeah. And then you have the dream team, and it's the whole world.
Exactly. Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah,
I mean, at that point, he had like Michael Jackson worldwide type fame. So,
exactly. I don't know if you watched that documentary they did. It was great. I forget the name of it now, but I think it was on Netflix. It was amazing.
I don't know if I watched the Netflix Dream Team. I know I saw the 30 for 30. It was Dream Team, but
Okay. Uh,
um, so moving on a little bit. So I do find still that story with your dad and his collection and unveiling it pretty amazing. And it was the start of your Clemente collection there, which has just taken off this year.
yeah.
So let's go ahead and see. I know I asked you to prepare this. Show off your three favorite Clemente cards.
Okay. So, so I'm gonna show a little bit more than three because I, I
Cheater.
here's where I got stuck. Okay. I have So first off, I'm going to show the three cards I got from my father. So I said to myself, what does favorite three cards mean? And it means like I know it seems like it's an easy question, but it really to me it means different things.
Yeah.
So the first thing I thought to is if I had to get rid of every one of my cards for whatever reason, what three cards would I keep? Because that might be my favorite. So I would keep the three cards I got from my dad's collection. 100%. I would never get rid of these ever.
And that
So
makes sense, but they not might not be your favorite designs if you're analyzing, what looks the best.
right. So I did do that
Yeah.
also. So my three favorite designs. So if somebody came over to my house and said I only have time to see three cards, what three cards would I show them? So obviously I love the 64 Clemente. I had that as my most beautiful card. I love this set. This might be a set that after I'm done with Clemente, I might collect Hall of Famers. I love how it pops. It's not just Clemente; other stars do. I love the Willie Stargell one too. I just love how they pop, and the picture's so clear, and I love the light blue. Um, and the backs are really cool. They had that little scratch off area down here, and I really appreciate that. I think that's a really cool thing that they did. And at first I said I will only buy a card if it's non-scratch, and then I started seeing some people who had the scratched off backs, And I'm like, it's kind of cool to see what the image was. So as we all do, I kind of changed my opinion on it. I'm like, it's cool to have it where it's never been scratched, but it's actually cool to know what it was. So
Not having dove deeply into that set, how do the grading companies treat that when it's scratched?
I I talked to, I forget who it was, but somebody had one scratched, and they told me that they obviously knew more than me. They told me they feel like, I think it was actually Wade Boggs fan, I believe. They told me they felt like the grading company actually treats them the same. They feel like, but I mean, you'd have to ask somebody from SGC to confirm that. But they felt like, they got over. I believe they got over a 4 on that grade. So like
Oh yeah,
normally, if something's altered, it wouldn't be over a 3.
it does seem like they just ignore it then, because you would think scratching it like that would turn it into a 1 if they were gonna be
Right.
kind of dickish about it.
R Right, and that's what I was curious myself. Like I said, being new, I was like, "Huh, I wonder if that's an alter or not." No, I don't think it is, at least for
Yeah,
SGC. Um,
that makes sense. That's
yeah.
cool.
So the other card obviously is the biggest grail card. Is obviously I would have to show somebody, and this is one of my favorite Clemente cards. This is a rookie. I never thought I would own one. I wanted to get one that was well centered because I knew I couldn't afford a high grade one. So, and I wanted to get something that I felt the color was very nice on it. So I got a well centered, and I feel like a good color one. With there's some wrinkles on it, but I'm fine with that.
Can't
And
see them
then,
from here. It looks great.
yeah, exactly. It's actually obvious. This is the picture I used for my channel. I actually took a picture of my own card, um, and yeah, I love this card. This would be a card, one of my favorites that I would want to show somebody coming over my house. So,
Well, cool.
and then number one, I it's still my favorite. It was my favorite when I did my countdown 5 months ago. It's got to be this one, 71. Um, the black with the white uniform with the black undershirt with the bat sticking out. It's the bat's about to hit you in the head. With this set was made for the Pittsburgh Pirates. There's other sets that are very good to other teams, but this was just the perfect coloring for the Pirates and Clemente. And you got Three River Stadium in the background. I think that's the first or second year in Three River Stadium. I always love the facsimile signature on a card. Everything is perfect on this card. So this is my number one favorite Clemente card. Um, for being a 4, I think it looks really nice. I I love this card. Here's the back, but the front's amazing. So that would be my number one card that I love.
That's a great choice. I mean, that is awesome with the color match to the Pirates, and that the bat coming right at you, and I love the fact that it says Roberto. So,
Yeah, I know that's a big deal breaker for you, and I understand.
well, he
uh,
hated it. He personally hated it. So,
I know it's like if you look at other players, like I guess back in the '60s, like nicknames were really big back then, and I
yeah,
guess it was kind of like if you didn't have a nickname, Tops wanted to make sure you had something on there. But yeah, I don't know. I just
yeah.
yeah, I wish they wouldn't have done that. I agree.
So, all right. So, uh, something you weren't expecting here was to get a Clemente quiz.
Oh no.
So I have put together 10 questions. I'm not sure on the difficulty level or not. So good luck here.
Okay.
But I did do them as multiple choice, except for the last one where it didn't really work,
Okay.
that I could figure out. So here we go. How
All right.
many siblings did Roberto Clemente have? A, 5, B, 6, C, 7, or D, 8? How many brothers and sisters?
Wow. I'm gonna go with B6.
That is correct. He was the youngest of 7 children. So nice
Nice.
work there. Uh, Number 2, who originally signed Roberto to a professional contract? A, the New York Giants, B, the Chicago Cubs, C, the St. Louis Browns, or D, the Brooklyn Dodgers?
The Brooklyn Dodgers.
That is correct. So do you know the story then of how the Pirates got him already?
Yeah, they actually had him up in Montreal, and they were trying to hide him, and they weren't actually giving him like a lot of playing time. And the Pirates ended up drafting him, and like the what is it called, the amateur draft or whatever. The Pirates found him. So
Yeah, what I found in my little research was that there was actually a major league rule that if you gave a guy a bonus over $4,000, which they gave him one of 10,000, then if you did not have him on your major league roster that next season for the entire season, he was eligible for the amateur draft.
yeah, really cool. That's yeah,
So,
that's crazy. It's 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 a shame for them that they couldn't find the room for him.
yeah. Um, all right, two for two. Number three, Roberto went 1 for 4 with a run scored in his MLB debut versus what team? A, the Brooklyn Dodgers, B, the Milwaukee Braves, C, the St. Louis Cardinals, or D, the Philadelphia Phillies?
Wow. Let's go with St. Louis Cardinals.
Sorry, it was actually again the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Oh, that's a cool fact. I like that.
All right, number four. At the start of Roberto's rookie season, Pirates center fielder Earl Smith wore number 21. What number did Roberto wear before Earl was traded away? A, 3, B, 13, C, 22, or D, 24?
I'm gonna go with 22.
It is 13. He only wore it for a few months of his rookie season.
Man, John Mangini's gonna be so disappointed with me.
All right, number five. Clemente enlisted in the reserves for this military branch from 1958 to 1964. A, Army, B, Navy, C, Air Force, or D, Marines?
The Marines.
That is correct. All right, number six. What was the only season of the 1960s in which Roberto Clemente failed to hit 300 or make the All Star team? A, 1969, B, 1968, C, 1967, or D, 1966?
I think 67 should be the year he won the MVP. Um, so I believe it was 67 off the top of my head. So let's go with 68.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right. Doing pretty good. Number seven, Roberto Clemente and Willie Mays are tied for the most gold gloves by an outfielder with A, 10, B, 11, C, 12, or D, 13?
Hmm. Man, I think 13.
It is 12.
Dang it. You got me there.
All right. You're still doing pretty well. Number eight, Roberto's 3,000th and final hit was on September 30th, 1972, versus the New York Mets. Off of what pitcher?
Hmm.
A, Tom Seaver. B, Jerry Kuzman. C, John Matlack. Or D, Tug McGraw?
Wow. I got to go with Kuzman.
It was Matlack.
Uh, Good one.
Wasn't sure how hard these were going to be. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. It's good. It's good to get this knowledge too. I
All
like it.
right. Number nine, the only Pirates teammate who missed Roberto's funeral was A, Manny Sanguian. B,
Yes, it's Manny Sanguine. He went to go look for him.
that is correct. I figured you know that one.
Yeah,
Oh,
I met Manny this summer. It was really cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, and the final question that I couldn't figure out a multiple choice for. Number 10, what unique construction feature was done at PNC Park to honor Roberto Clemente?
I've been there many a time. It's in 1994. They unveiled the right before the All Star game. They unveiled the Roberto Clemente statue, and I got this patch at my first card show this year. So I love getting pieces to remember events. And this is my first patch I've ever had, an only patch.
Well, I was actually looking for something that's not as obvious as a statue.
Okay, they named the bridge after him.
That is also true. Not what I was also going for.
Okay,
I wasn't sure if you knew you would know this one.
they named the wall after him,
The what wall is that?
the right field wall.
And what is unique about that wall?
It is 21 feet high.
That is correct. So you did know it. I just had to guide you there a little bit. So I would count that as a correct answer, which means you finished. What's that? 6 out of 10 in what
uh,
I think was a pretty hard quiz, though. So,
when my son gets 6 out of 10, we give him a high five. So
all right,
I'll
high
take it.
five.
Let's go.
All right, so moving on. So besides Roberto and the Pirates in your modern adult collection, what else have you been seeking?
Yeah. So and I could show a couple of them. I as oh, you want non-Pirates cards, non-baseball cards? Is that what
Yeah,
you're asking
anything
for?
that's not the obvious Pirates, or that you know
Okay.
could be other vintage, other sports,
Sure.
just other things you've been collecting as an adult now.
Okay. Well, I like I said, I I grew up in the '90s and loved basketball. So now that I'm able to see some of the cards that I missed out on as a child, I love collecting Larry Bird cards. I think he was one of the greats. Him and Magic Johnson. I collect some of their stuff that's on the cheaper end, the ungraded stuff. This is a card I picked up recently for $3. And I'd love to get to Jordan All Star one day in this. I think it's one of his two best cards ever. But I collect that. I'd still collect Jordan cards. I think for my VR for THA Card Story, a different sport you collect. I'm gonna bring out my basketball collection and show them. And then obviously, you've seen it on my channel. I collect Pokemon. I don't collect Pokemon cards. My son collects Pokemon cards, but I collect alongside of him, and I'm happy to open packs with him. But I mentioned it earlier. In 1999, I collected Pokemon cards, and this is the Charizard I pulled. My mom bought me the pack from Giant Eagle, and I got it graded during the pandemic and got an 8 on it. And I was so happy that I did not play with this card because it was so tempting to put in a deck because it's a really good card to use in a game, and I did not use it. Pokemon's another thing that I collect with my son. And his birthday's coming up in 6 days, and he wanted a booster box for his birthday, so that'll be fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did ask you to prep three favorites that were non Roberto cards. Is that what you just showed us, or do you have
Yeah.
more?
Well, non Roberto cards, I got I PC two other guys. I PC Bill Mazeroski. I got his rookie card for my birthday this year.
That
Uh,
one's nice.
yeah, I love this. Mazeroski was, in my opinion, one of the best second basemen of all time. He's one of the best defensive second basemen too. And and then the other thing I PC is Dick Groat. So it's so cool because Dick Groat Dick Groat was the shortstop. Mazeroski was the second baseman, and they turned a lot of double plays when they were together. And I'm going to show you something that I haven't showed on my channel yet. It's my first Cons Wieners card, and it's a Dick Groat card. I'm so happy to have this. This is my favorite Dick Groat card I have now. It's 1962, and it's got some yellowing on it, but I'm fine with that. I've been wanting a cons card forever, so I'm thrilled. I think this is sweet. So Dick Rote's another player that I PC.
Well, they stuck them right in there next to the hot dogs, didn't they? So it's like
Yeah.
hot dog juice absorbed.
Yep. So yeah, I can't complain about the corners are sharp. I can't complain. I can't complain about the yellowing. I'm happy with it. I uh I know I probably can't get a Clemente and a cons card, so it's cool to PC a guy that's a non Hall of Famer because you can get some of the cards that you couldn't get with Hall of Fame players. So
Oh yeah, when somebody is considered a common, then you can get crazy expensive sets when it comes to Hall of Famers for super cheap.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Groat's rookie card is very expensive though because I'm pretty sure it was a short print.
was it
And
like a high number one
yeah,
then? Yeah,
yeah. So we'll see. Maybe one day I can get one that's in rough condition. So
yeah, and I mean I know a lot of people think the 57s are like the worst top design of the 50s, but I kind of like them honestly because to me I like the 53 Bowman color, and it's almost just like kind of that style with a little bit of text at the bottom. So
yeah, I think I have. Yeah, here's the 57 Groat. Um, I like you said, it's a lot like the Bowman color. I think I agree with you. It's a basic. It feels like it's very basic, but it's all about the player. I feel like in the picture.
oh
So
yeah, the photography is the king of the card there.
exactly. So it's cool. I have these two plus Clemente, so it's really cool to have. I mean, that's another reason why I love that I picked to do the Clemente run. Not only because he's my favorite player, I love the fact that now I have the whole run. I put him up. I put him up here, and I can literally see every top set for that time period, and it's really cool. Like,
Right.
if I just picked one set, then I would just be looking at one set. I wouldn't be able. And I love the idea of looking at the sets and figuring out my favorite set. So I really like it. So
Yeah, that's one of the same things I felt like I was getting out of doing a maze run was then I
yeah,
have a single card of each set, even though I'm
exactly.
picking like a few select sets to get more breadth of players. So
Exactly. Um, I have some recent Clemente pickups I've never shown on the channel. I don't know if you want me to show them off or you want me to save them.
it's up to you. If you want to show them off here, it can be a world premiere as opposed to saving
Yeah,
it for your own channel.
yeah. Maybe if you see anything that you've also maybe you've looked at this card in Maze or something like that, you could chime in and it's fine. But let's start off. This is the first modern Clemente card I've ever purchased. It's a 1983. Um, it's a sticker. It's Starliner did these stickers, and I always felt like this to me being 1983, it feels vintage, and I really like the picture they chose. And here's the back is you could peel off the sticker, but they did a great job. They have other Hall of Famers. It's a really cool set actually. It's very cheap, so
Yeah, I haven't really dove into the off the standard series yet as far as Maze goes, really. So
yeah.
it looks pretty cool. But
Yeah, I like it a lot, and it's very cheap. So the other thing is, I'm going to call this a pickup. I I went back through my child. I know everybody loves the word childhood cards. I went back through my childhood cards, I'm like, I don't know about you, but like I have like multiple boxes, so I'm like I had to miss some. As I learn more and more and stuff like that, I'm like I had to miss somebody. Somebody's in there that I forgot to look at. I went back through my childhood cards, and this is my first Clemente card I've ever owned. This was in there. And Double D Dylan just did a live with Adam from Splendid. And they were talking about these turn back the clock cards,
oh yeah,
but I said I owned a Clemente card when I was a kid and I didn't even know it. So this will definitely be something in my collection forever. And I just think it's really cool that it was just in there in the box. So I'm
there.
gonna count that as a pickup. I got I got one of these. I never thought I'd collect coins, but this is This is a Salada Junket coin. They were in iced tea. It was 1962. So it's not in the best condition, but I'm happy with it. I don't like this is a type of piece where I wouldn't want to pay up to get the pristine one, but I would love to have one in my collection. So
That is a different thing there. That's like a Mangini piece there.
yeah, it's really cool. I have to figure out a way that I'm going to display it. But I'm really happy to have something that's different. And that's the kind of stuff like non sports card collectors. I love showing them like you said like different pieces from history. If you just take out 20 cards, it's like okay, but when you show them something that was in iced tea or something, that was in wieners or something, it's kind of cool to show them like variations, and I enjoy them. So it's kind of cool. Um, and the last thing is I started really getting into posters. This is 1970s tops. I got a frame for it, but I just picked this up recently, and I
Nice.
love these. I think the color on it looks really nice. So,
The
yeah,
whole style of the photos there, it's not unlike my favorite top set there, where he's got a headshot and then a black and white pose next to it.
yeah. So I'm very happy about that too. So it's some they're not real expensive pickups, but they're just some pickups. I got some eBay gift cards for Christmas, and my wife and my family knows it's easier to give me an eBay gift card than try to shop for me. So I
Exactly.
those are some of the things I picked up. So
Well, cool. Uh, Another question I had was if there was any other collecting paths you're pondering going down. Like, have you been figuring out, what you want to do possibly out there? Um,
yeah, like after Clemente, like maybe what path I'd go,
sure.
basically. I've been thinking about it. I've been talking to the Drew a lot, and he loves picking out a set and doing at least Hall of Fame set collecting, if not the whole set. So I've kind of gone back and forth about the possibility of doing something like that. Like I said, I really like the '64 set. Um, but I mean, I love the '63 and '65 set too. Like that's why I don't know if I would go the set collecting route with everybody has a budget they have to kind of go by. So I think what I would probably do is I would probably do more of picking up Hall of Famers that I just can't live without the card, like not necessarily the rookie cards, but okay, I really love this Willie Mays card. Like an example is yesterday, Double D had the Willie Mays 1973 card on his channel in the Mets uniform,
Yep.
and and I agree with him. Yeah, if you pull it out for the camera, and then I'll talk about it. I'm sh- he's smiling. That pink with that blue with that green on the corner, the card is just great. I agree with him 100%. Like that's a perfect example of I'd love to have that card. It would be it would be the first Willie Mays in my collection. Kind of like you, it's nice to have a representation of some of your favorites. Um, but that's an example of a card, and I think most non-collectors and non-fans would look at that card and go, "He played for the Mets." Like that's kind
Yeah.
of a cool, interesting thing. Also, I feel like
Sure.
so. What's your thoughts on that card? Do you like that card?
Uh, he looks so old on that one. It's just
Yeah,
his face. It just looks all wrinkly compared to pictures. I mean, it's like he suddenly became a 50-something-year-old man instead of 40 to me, just the look of it. But,
yeah,
and, while the New York logo on the hat harkens back to his, first few years, it just still seems wrong to see him in a Mets jersey. I mean,
yeah. I think to me though, I look at that and I think about like I was going through the 60 sets because Dylan's doing the favorite 50 set, and I'm all about like right now. And I know people pivot. I love the 60s because that's what my dad had, and I
Yeah,
fell in love with it 2 years ago. I love every 60 set. It's just my passion right now. Just 60s baseball, and I started going through and going, well, which 60 set has which Hall of Famers? Like does X set not have this player? And I'm like, almost every 60 set has almost every Hall of Famer you could want, like in my opinion. Okay.
yeah,
And I'm like, it was such a great decade of baseball. It's not like four players broke off here and then you got four new ones and then you got four new ones. It's like consistency. Like all the greats like Lou Brock and Hank Aaron and all those guys that I love. Mickey Mantle. And like you're saying, you're looking at the 73 cards going, man, he looks old. And to me, when I see that, I'm like the longevity of Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Roberto Clemente. It just to me, that's what I think of. It's like, man, did they play for a long time? And the reason why they played so long is because they were the best. It's not because somebody felt bad and they wanted to sell tickets. It was you don't see that today. Players
yeah,
can't play that long because they're
yeah.
not good. They're not good enough.
Oh yeah. Or I
Like
mean,
that.
we're like Willie played, as one of the top players in the '50s, and
Mm-hmm.
then he's widely considered the best player of the '60s.
Right.
With just bare a hair more over like Hank or Roberto, but
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, to go 20 years at being almost the best player in baseball, uh,
Unheard of.
yeah.
It's It's really cool. It is. I see some of those Hank Aaron cards in the '70s, and he looks old to me in some of those pictures. They didn't always pick out the best pictures, in my opinion. I don't know. That's why I kind of go
Well,
back about the '70s set sometimes. Like I don't know.
I mean, that's one thing I wish was better about Willie Mays' cards is that he took horrible pictures.
Yeah.
And really, the only one he's even got a decent smile in, they did double up on using it as the '66,
Yep. Yeah.
which has its twin in '69 zoomed in closer.
Yeah, which is really that's honestly yeah, I agree with you. That's one of his best pictures by far. It's just a shame and somebody recently, I forget who it was saying how 69 was their favorite set. And I honestly think it's probably based on childhood and they reminisce about it because me being new to collecting and just seeing these sets 2 years ago, 69 to me is the worst out of the 60 sets. It's so basic of a design. I don't see the appeal of it. Like I said, maybe if maybe if you grew up on it, you have that childhood of oh, like that was the first set I collected. But to me, 69, the players are getting older, the set design's not very good, and to me the pictures aren't that good. So I don't see the appeal.
It's not my bottom, but it's near the bottom for me as well.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. That's
but
it's interesting. I have a question for you. I know you're supposed to be asking me questions, but it's been something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. Is I've had some family members ask about the hobby, and the first thing a lot of them say is, um, "Isn't baseball kind of dying? Why why would somebody want to buy a baseball card 20 years from now or whatever? Isn't baseball going to be the fourth most popular sport in America and and all that kind of stuff?" And I talked to them about in the 50s and 60s, baseball wasn't, you know what I mean, and how great of a sport it was. But what's your opinion on, if somebody said to you, where baseball is today, do you really think your cards will hold value, or do you think that they'll lose value actually, and football and maybe basketball would actually gain value? So what's your opinion on that?
well, to interject, what do they think is number three if baseball's number four? Because
Soccer, they think soccer is going to continue to.
oh, not in America.
Yeah,
You saw the World Cup happens, and then suddenly there's a popularity of soccer cards. The moment the World Cup's over, it goes in the tank. So, uh, I mean, soccer is never going to be anything more here than popular during the World Cup and something kids are forced to play for a year or two before they tell their parents they don't want to do it anymore. Um, but
Yeah, go ahead. What's your thoughts though on the state of baseball currently, and will young collectors, when the baby boomers are all gone, will young collectors be as hooked on vintage as as the generation before?
well, I my thoughts on that is baseball does seem to be stuck now in the number three position. Uh, football rose up first because of Joe Namath, and that proclamation brought so much attention. Uh,
Yeah.
Basketball wasn't even shown live until Magic and Bird in the 80s.
Mhm.
Uh, so then, Jordan elevated them up into the competing for attention in the 90s, which the home run chase is the only thing that kept baseball kind of on an even tier with them in the 90s.
Right.
All those guys are now being punished for what they did that made them tons of money. But uh, I feel like baseball will stick around as number three for the foreseeable future. They're trying to do rule changes to actually speed up games because that's one of the things I even see with my kids is their attention span is so
Yeah.
short.
Yeah.
With you know we're on YouTube, ironically, but everything is a short video. At most, on YouTube, long format is practically 15 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
uh, our conversation here is a marathon in terms of my kids' perspective on that. So,
Right.
uh, uh, it does feel like the quicker action sports like your baseball or sorry basketball and football that have quick bursts of energy that are exciting is more appealing than sitting there probably for quite a while and then occasionally there's a home run. So
Mhm. Yeah.
and it's just the reality of the way of the sports versus the modern culture and wanting more frequent and quicker dopamine hits. So
Yeah. I
unfortunately,
I
but
wonder though, like you said, is there an actual, so when a 20-year-old right now gets to 35 or 40, you wonder though if they start slowing down and they want slower things. You get what I'm saying? So I
yeah,
wonder if some of these kids today that need the quick stuff and the 5-minute videos, I wonder if they start actually discovering baseball and kind of learn, not as a child but as a, as older, maybe reminisce about the few times they might have went to the ballpark just to do something that day with their parents. So I wonder if people kind of change, as far as that needing that quick, quick 5 minute, and everything needs to be super quick. So kind of curious to see what happens.
yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot of faith in like say the modern baseball cards of the last 20 years
Right.
like holding a lot of value, but
Mm.
I feel like the vintage what we view as vintage now is kind of just a historical piece of Americana almost because
Yeah.
baseball was so prominent in that era that it's just interwoven into the fabric of American history. I
Exactly.
The Jackie Robinson thing was just so huge, not just for sport. I mean, um, and then later, even then, what happened with Kurt Flood and the start of free agency was so huge for every sport. I mean,
Right.
it was baseball that started the cultural changes in America, really, in terms of both race and then player empowerment. So
Yeah, I definitely understand the history aspect of it, and I agree with you. I think the other part that's kind of underrated is the Latin speaking countries and some of Asia really is into baseball, and I think I think there might be, there might be a surge, in the future where those countries that enjoy baseball want a piece of, like you said, the 50s and the 60s baseball, and there's more international market for cards. I wonder if that's possible, in my opinion. So I'm curious to see what happens in the future. But
Yeah, you never know. I mean,
yeah,
I feel like they're gonna, retain value. I
yeah,
mean, it's not gonna be any kind of steep incline, but
right. Yeah, and I think me and you are very similar, though. We care about value because you don't want to own something that's worthless. But we honestly, me and you collect because we love thinking back, and we love the history of the cards, and we love looking at them. I love them regardless of if they go down in value. And I know you're the same way. It's just always interesting to think about it. You know what I mean? So
oh yeah, that's why I'm never going to do a top 50 card video that is based off of value.
right.
I mean,
I,
I'm more along the lines of who's the guy that did the 100 that was all about the love. Um,
uh,
it was a
I don't.
monumental list. Did you see him?
I
Oh,
don't. I don't think so.
sorry, whoever did that.
I Yeah, I agree with you. But sometimes I'll say what something's worth, and it's usually something that's not worth that much. But I'll say what I bought it for because when I watch somebody's channel, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like now I have to go on eBay and see like, oh, is that like a $20? Is that like $100? Like it's kind of nice to know when you're watching somebody's video, like, okay, they bought it for this. This is what I can get it for. So that's
Yeah,
why I sometimes throw the money out there, but I don't ever, oh, these are the cards that I have that are most expensive. Yeah, I really don't go down that road. So
I mean that reminds me. My first ever negative comment on a video was when I did my last SGC reveal, and a guy was talking about how I show off all these cards of huge value, and I'm setting myself up to be a target for a bad person to break into my house, and I'm such an idiot for doing so. But that's where I'm feeling like I want to put out a video in the future of I got all these cards for $25 or less, to kind of break the people. It was a mindset I had before 2022 that vintage was expensive automatically. So
yeah, yeah, exactly. I remember reading that comment, and they said, I bet you think you're a tough guy and you're strapped, but you're not. Any robber could take you, and then like me knowing you, I would maybe laugh so hard because I know you would like that's not you at all. You're not gonna try to be a tough guy.
yeah,
So,
I said that comment to my family and they were dying.
that was hilarious. That was funny.
So
Oh.
we're approaching an hour here. So let's get into a lightning round. I did not bring a little game timer. I will just let them go as the
I Do you want me to time myself?
uh, no need. Let's just
Okay.
go through them. But
All right.
all right, some quick get to know Theo questions.
All right.
As a kid, what was your favorite breakfast cereal?
Wow, that's a good one. Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
What was your favorite cartoon show?
Wow, I had a lot over the years. Wow, that's a good one. I liked this show called Mighty Max for a long time. I would wake up at 6 a.m. to watch it.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's a '90s show.
What was the first music album you ever purchased?
Wow. Will Smith getting jiggy with it.
All right. What's your favorite TV show of all time?
Oh wow. Hmm. Wow, that's a good one. I guess I would go with Game of Thrones. Do you want me to? I can get. As a kid, I actually loved the Wonder Years. It was on what was it called? The late night Nickelodeon program. I used to love Wonder Years also.
Oh, yeah, I watched the Wonder Years when it was live.
And no, I didn't see it live.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think it was called Nick at Night. I believe that was the name of it. But yeah,
Yeah, they did have
Wonder
Nick,
what
which
Wonder Yeah, Wonder Years as a child, Game of Thrones now. So,
Yeah, when I was a kid, Nick at Night, I got into Mr. Ed for a while, but
oh, yeah, they didn't show that anymore. They would show Happy Days, on there, which I thought was a really cool show.
sure.
Yeah.
Hey, that was the first word I taught my son how to say.
Hey. That's funny.
My oldest, you always have fun with your first kid. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, so, what's your favorite movie of all time?
Shawshank Redemption.
Ah, that's a good one. That's pretty high up there on like the IMDb score. So,
It's the most rewatchable movie ever, and what I forget, was it TBS or TNT? They literally played it every single weekend of my childhood, and I think they probably still play it, so
that is a movie where anytime you flip and it's there, you just stop it and you watch the rest. I
yeah,
mean,
it's so rewatchable.
oh yeah. Uh, Coke or Pepsi?
Um, can I say neither, or do you want which one I like more?
And you can say neither. I'm not a cola drinker either. I just a lot
Yeah,
of people are.
if I had to drink one, I drink Coke, but I like coffee in the morning and iced tea or unsweetened iced tea during the day. So,
All right, cool. Paper or plastic?
um, I guess plastic. I don't carry cash with me ever. Is that the what it's referring to?
No, this is what bag you choose when they give you the option at the grocery store.
Yeah, but do they still give that option? I don't think
I
they
don't know,
do.
do they?
I'll go with plastic.
Yeah, usually those paper bags rip too easy.
Yeah. That's
Uh, Favorite sport to play?
oh, basketball, 100%. I played it in high school. I played it in college. I love basketball.
Cool. Favorite sport to watch?
Football, 100%. Ever since those Steelers with Cordell Stewart and Jerome Bettis, I've been hooked on football and play fantasy football for the last 13 years. Or you can't really play fantasy football, but I'm involved in a fantasy football league. Let's just say that.
Cool.
Yeah,
Lastly, any just random fact you want to share about yourself?
interesting. I worked at Target for 10 years, the department store as a manager. So that's interesting.
Cool. Yeah, I never went to a Target for the longest time. I don't even remember when they came out to the at least the West Coast
Yeah,
because they would have been much earlier for you starting in Minnesota. So,
yeah.
um,
Yeah, I think they opened their first stores in Pittsburgh in '99, and then they kind of built on from there. So yeah, it took a while to get over here too, actually. So we
yeah,
had
sometime in the 2000s for me would have been the first time.
yeah. You guys didn't have the department store Hills, right? I believe Hills was regional to us, but I didn't know.
Yeah, I've never heard of Hills.
Okay, yeah. So I figured that.
All right. Well, that is all I had prepared. So I guess thanks for the interview and another fun time for me. I don't know how it was for you.
Yeah, I had a good time. I always enjoy getting to know you better, John, and I always enjoy these conversations. I hope somebody else out there has a good time listening to this, but I had a good time. So thank you so much.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching. I will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.